Well, draft is already kicked off here. Going to be transitioning to that right now. Wapam, welcome to the draft, everyone. Already the first phase of bans has been quickly gone through, and that Shen ban I was talking about did come through just on the side of Glaive Esports. And if there was a champion they felt comfortable first picking, you best believe it's going to be that Kaisa locked in for Kiba. Once again, AOE God Squad, they target out the jungle Gungeon. What are your thoughts on this?
They target out the jungle from the side of AOE God Squad and take kind of one of the premier tank, run at you, pull people in. And I do like it in terms of how aggressive Kiba was playing. It's gonna force him to pay that QSS stats. My big thing is the Jinx pickup. That is signaling we are getting a B-Slants comp. We are gonna get a comp centered around the bot lane, because obviously now it is more of that. It's not going to be that Olaf. It's going to be the Skarner kind of assisting the team member. So I really like how AOE God Squad saying, Game 1, it didn't work. Oh, they're going full in. Full. Protect Beastlands, boys. That
Protect the president.
That KD will not be hurt in game number 2. It took a hit in game number 1, but in game number 2, we're making sure the Beastlands either goes 0-9 or 9-0. One of those things will happen. The Kaisa and the Kaisa, Nunu, and the Gragas is going to be the rounded out comp for the first pick side of Glaive Esports. And I like it. I think the Gragas will probably end up being a support Gragas. It could end up being going to the top 4. I just think that it's going to... I think Miho probably will end up opting in for more of a damage style composition now that God Squad is kind of favoring that protect the Kaisa comp. God Squad probably can't pick up the Gnar, but it kind of leaves open with, that the jungle pressure is going to be focused around that bot side. It's going to be that Miho versus Flaming Thunder matchup.
Issei's Galio is left open. They decide to ban away the Nautilus and the Leona. I wonder if this is a duo that we saw last week work really, really well for Glaive. I wonder also if God Squad feel comfortable locking in the Galio now for Red 4 and try to save their counter pick for Flaming Thunder, which could maybe let him get out onto the map more easily. Instead, they're looking like they might opt in for this Ornn pick, which similarly, I think would increase his ease of access to really being an impactful player in the game. The Scion does the exact same thing with that ultimate. Really solid drafting here from God Squad. I like where their head's at. Let's see if the Galio is going to be locked in for Issei. That'll be what I'm keeping my eye out.
I think that this will end up being the Gragas support. And I would love it if Miho now takes it to AoE God Squad and picks a champion similar to like the Camille. It's gonna be Nami, actually.
Really? Okay.
Oh,
the Blitzcrank, the Godhead! Issei just doesn't let us enjoy the he's baiting us. He's enjoying messing with us too much. And this Blitzcrank pick, this could be the ace up the Glaive Esports sleeve for really messing up this AoE God Squad composition, because we saw how well Meme City in game 2 of God Squad's earlier set tonight, how if they were able to get onto this Jinx, they could really destroy this composition.
Yeah, and I know this is something that LS also always talks about as Blitzcrank being like the perfect last round pick, because again, when you build a Voltron comp of the Jinx, the Lulu, the protection in the front, Blitzcrank can always mess stuff up. He's like the perfect mess stuff up guy. He runs in, breaks shield, and gets the pull off. And if he pulls the perfect character, he wins the game. If he pulls the worst character, you end up losing. So it's kind of an X factor for both guys. But obviously, Issei has piloted this champ before, and I really like that they end up opting for the Blitzcrank pick. It is going to end up being the Gragas, so it's going to be a lot more now focused around. Is the DPS of Totemax on Cassio? It's going to be the Cassio versus Ryze matchup, which is that hyper-scaling matchup. And I'm excited because Totemax had such a performance in game number 1. I'm excited to see what he does in game number 2.
This is going to be a very exciting match on the Rift. What I am thinking is going to be really impactful is just how early on we're going to see mixed shoots going toe-to-toe with this Skarner pick coming through on the side of God Squad. Mel Scout is going to have a big game, I think, in terms of controlling objectives, because I think the way Glaive can beat you is kind of twofold, right? they'll first try to just skill gap you in terms of looking for early fights. They can be aggressive. We saw 2-Max and McShoots win out in that engage in the first match here against God Squad. Now, I feel like the level of execution has kind of gone up, and instead we could see McShoots look to just dominate the map on this Nunu pick. Gunjin, I'm kind of wondering, do you think the Skarner pick can kind of match what the Nunu's wanting to do?
I think, again, Skarner is a champion that is so gated by that level 6 power spike. He can do stuff, especially in the early game, but in terms of overall just lane states, Nu has so much more effectiveness if he does end up opting for either the phase rush, maybe the Predator to try to get in a little bit faster. The big thing is that the lanes for Glaive Esports are so safe. Gragas, Cassiopeia, it's not that it's uninteractable, but it's really hard for Skarner to really affect either of those matchups. So this game is going to be focused mainly around that bot lane. And again, Issei on the Blitzcrank, Nunu setup, a lot of early game, it's going to be really tentative, because if AOE God Squad cannot get this Jinx off the ground, it's a failure to launch. Houston, we have a problem, because that is the only hope you have. Because again, Ryze can do a lot of damage, but he is such a short-range mage that Blitzcrank puts threat on him. Gragas Flash E into Gragas Barrel puts threat on him. There's a lot of threat that the short-range mage of Ryze gets affected with in the team fight. So if Jinx doesn't take off, it's going to be really hard for God Squad to kind of execute.
And maybe even if the CC lands on the Ryze, you know Kiba is not afraid to press that killer instinct R button on the Kai'Sa to get it right into the middle of the team. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. Do you think your lane to watch, obviously going to be centered around the bot lane, but I kind of want to throw some attention up to this top lane. It is going to be a bit of a pool party. They're just going to be whacking around the Grasp of the Undying procs, going back and forth, trying to see who can stack up the most health before the mid-game fights. But looking maybe for kind of the teleport access in the potential mid-game fights. I mean, we got to maybe give the nod to Flaming Thunder in terms of if he's going to be able to join the team. He's going to really have the prime directive there with that huge Scion ultimate.
Yeah, the Scions have a lot of ability to kind of get into these team fights, and if he can end up getting onto the Cassio, he can put a lot of threat on her. My big fear is that with Miho having this Gragas disengage of the barrel, it can kind of make it so if they end up going for that 5 comp, Scion runs in and then Skarner kind of runs in behind him, he can cut off the team. If they try to run in behind the Scion, you Gragas ulti the team away, Scion runs in and he gets absolutely annihilated by Cassiopeia. You could be the best tank in the world, when Cassio puts her poison in you, you will die. So in terms of just disengaging, in terms of kind of splitting off the Voltron comp that is AOE God Squad, it's gonna be a fear that God Squad have to face every time they do end up going for those 5v5 big team fights. And Miho is a player that I get scared, because Miho did play early game. Again, in the Shen into Gnar matchup, there's not much he can do, but I've seen this guy outplay people on tanks. Like, we've seen tanks 1v1 kills in Excellency mid league. I will never forget, I believe, I think it was against One Brain Boys, where a Volibear went something like 4-0 with the Doran's Ring. So I get scared of the tank 1v1 matchups, especially when
Shout out Knots. I think it was Knots' Volibear.
Yeah, I think it was Knots' Volibear, because I think we talked about it after the fact. Yeah, it gets scary.
And I think funny enough, with this Glaive composition, you also, kind of as you alluded to, with Miho on this Gragas pick being able to disrupt fights, funny enough, they also kind of have 2 ways to bring back whoever Skarner pulls right back to the rest of the team. They have explosive cast, and I think the rocket grab, if Issei lands it correctly, should just keep whoever got impaled real nice and safe with the rest of the squad. But talking about how important this Impale Skarner ultimate is and how much Mel Scout we're looking for him to impact the game, Glaive Esports, if they get ahead, something we actually saw Omega Gaming run into, even if they're able to have a really solid early game, they might be limited. If we see a lot of QSS taxes being paid early on, it could slow down the Glaive Esports and McShoot snowball development.
Yeah, sorry, the QSS task will be something that has to probably be paid by Totemax and Kiba, just because they are very susceptible to getting picked, especially in the skirmish. I think that's where Skarner is going to excel in this game, because in terms of overall team fighting, he's not going to be the best of trying to pull any of the carries. He's going to end up having to opt for either pulling McShoots or maybe Issei at that point. But the QSS task will end up having to be paid, so it will kind of limit itemization for both of the carries. The big fear that I'm kind of having is that I want to see how this bot lane plays out, and I know we've talked about it a lot, but it's really important. Kiba and Issei's bot lane synergy, especially with how strong Blitzcrank is, and it's something that I mentioned kind of offhand, is the shield break that Blitzcrank does end up having. That can do a lot of work when Jinx does end up kind of overloading on shields, and that's kind of how she wants to survive with a lot of the damage that does coming out. Because again, Jinx wants to run at you with rocket form, just shooting, but Totemax is not going to let that happen. There's a lot of zone of control that Glaive Esports does provide. So in terms of just overall zoning with kind of spaces that Beastlands can walk and can't not, if this is like if this is kind of like a board of how am I drawing blank in the game where it's like the colors and you have to put your hand and feet on them? What is that game called?
Oh, Twister.
There's a lot of spaces that Beastlands cannot walk on. There's a lot of poison, there's a lot of barrels, there's a lot of Nunu everything, and there's just Blitzcrank in the side. This is a game of Twister that Beastlands cannot play poorly, because if he does, he will die. And we saw that happen, and I keep mentioning it in the Meme City Esports game versus AOE God Squad. There were a lot of situations, especially in the late game, where Beastlands was getting picked off by Lux Binding, Lux Q's, Bard ultis. So there's a fear that I have in my heart that the game goes late. AOE God Squad have a lead, but those skill shots can be a little bit terrifying.
Well, the teams are locked in. The summoners loading onto the rift. Everyone ready to spin the Twister wheel. Beastlands, in particular, got to be careful where he is positioning, because Glaive is looking to absolutely explode out of the gate when the team fights start. It is going to be a really fun second match of the second set of the night. It's the final one. If you don't just yet have a bingo card, type !bingo in the chat, and you'll get a link where you can grab a bingo card and participate. It's the final game of the night. Thank you all so much for sticking around the mid-league for so long. We really do appreciate the support. Me and Gunjan are going to hop into a quick break, but we have a potential new challenger approaching on the mid-league cast. Don't click out of that browser. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again for your final game of the evening here in Excellency Mid-League. And I know, it's strange. I'm not the normal voice you hear here on Mid-League, but I'm here regardless. I am Necrox here to bring you the final action of the evening. And, well, it may not be your normal play-by-play. I promise to do my best. As we're gonna get an invade, of course we do. It's a Blitzcrank flash immediately out of Jabber. Nice and respectful. Action nice and early on, making me on my toes.
Yep, Blitzcrank there, just doing Blitzcrank things. But the side of AOE God Squad is ready for it. Not getting caught out there. This game, we have Kiba back on the Kaisa pick. There was some discussion on the analyst desk on whether or not he should even be allowed to play this champion in this league. Meanwhile, Beastlance picking up the Jinx. I expect a lot of action to be going down in the bottom side of the map, especially with the tank top laners that have come through.
I can say, man, he's such an alpha male, just sitting here in mid lane, like, yeah, walk up, Sharp, walk up, I dare you. Nah, he's not going to do it, as he will pull back to leash finally for his jungler. And speaking of it, we're going to get a bot side leash here for the Nunu, and mix shoots for Glaive. But on the top side, it will be Melscout starting all on his lonesome on the Skarner here in red buff, so headed towards opposite sides of Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, and I wonder if Glaive is able to track the Skarner here and how deep they got vision. And I'm not seeing anything at the moment, so I wonder if they're going to know this is coming out. Maybe the Skarner has an opportunity here to make first impact in the bottom lane. And just as I say that, we see Nunu snowballing in.
It's a level 2, man. This is what Nunu does best. The Blitzcrank's still level 1, but the flash away from Beastlance does go through. But remember, Jabber had to burn the flash early on. The second skin barely will be procced there onto Jabber, who ticks down just to about 30 HP, will survive. McShoot's opting for heavy influence here in the early game, but look at Melscout. He's headed straight towards this blue buff.
Yeah, Melscout gonna punish here, and on the side of AOE God Squad, they got all of their summoners burned in the bottom lane, while the Kaisa still has flash and heal, and Blitzcrank still has flash. So after this wave bounces back toward them, they could be in a precarious position for some roams and maybe some ganks, but we'll see what they like to do.
Melscout, oh my gosh, man, you're getting out jungled. Your laners are question mark you, as McShoot says, trying to do his best with the biggest snowball ever, but realistically, the two camp Nunu is never going to be able to keep up in pace with the Skarner, so just opting for some early game influence once again. Sitting here in the brush, Sharp will face check, but away goes McShoot. Quick little snowball, roots there, flash forward, first blood to Melscout in the bot lane. It will be returned all the same by Kiba on this Kaisa, 1-1, but a quick bit of action finds this Nunu, and now it's desperation hours for this jungler trying to catch up. dead, so we'll have to get back onto the rift as soon as possible. Snowball on the way, but oh, there's the flash pull once again. Nice rocket grab, but Beast Lance gets out just in time. This is a quick one here, Stone.
Yeah, Necrox. Last game, I know you weren't here, but it was the same thing. Fast pace. Everybody just fighting constantly, especially on the side of Glaive Esports. They are a team in this league that likes to push their advantages. They like to play picks like the Blitzcrank, where they can pull you in. They can abuse the fact that your summoner spells are down. It looks like we have a gank in the bottom side here, looking for the bottom lane.
That sweeper is going to find both of them. Kiba now in a little bit of trouble. Jesse's trying to do his best to body block them. Ember's going to take the zap. There go the flame chompers, but now they turn their attention straight towards this Blitzcrank. Heal will go through to get a little bit more movement speed, and somehow Glaive Rose bot lane escaped to safety as their jungler DCs and reconnects all in the same frame.
Yeah, you say here. Oh my goodness. Here we go with the Nunu in the middle lane.
We're going again. Stone. The action does not stop. Sharp Circle will get the dancing shoes on, but this is the second time this Nunu has been caught out in a mid brush. Gonna go down for the second time as well. For it, 2 kills onto this Nunu will be so rough. The CS is not the name of the game here for either of these junglers. They are looking for as much ganking as possible.
And I feel like Skarner is just walking into the middle lane and picking up his free kill every single time. We see the Nunu expending so much time trying to get something going in this middle lane, and Skarner just pops in and says, "Hello, I'm here for a counter gank. How are you?"
Yeah, just trying to post up there in mid lane, waiting for McShoots to try to make a play. And okay, now that things have started to calm down just ever so slightly. Of course, Caster Curse is real. Eventually something will go down while I'm trying to break down what's going on, but should be a little bit slower now for these two teams. Vision being swept away here. Dragon on the board, and that one is being taken as we speak.
Yeah, despite the picks here in the top lane, we do have 2 top laners that really want to fight, and I'm sure they're missing out on the action. Both of their teleports are up, so I wonder if we're going to see TP to this Drake fight, or if they're just going to give it up. Looks like they just give it up. No position, no vision, nothing really to play for there, as the bottom lane of Glaive Esports just walks back into lane.
And here we go, top side again. McShoots is rolling in with a snowball, flash out of Flaming Thunder. Will have to retreat back to the safety of his turret. Does so indeed. McShoots once again looking to get aggressive and active on this Nunu all across Summoner's Rift. Now doing a little bit of counter jungling, picking up what is basically his first camp of the game.
Yeah, basically the first camp of the game here for the Nunu. And the idea of the Nunu ganks has been really good. A lot of times getting a flash or something like this, but I think that the damage from the Skarner in the early game is just better. As we see Issei posturing as if, oh goodness, I thought that was going to hit for sure.
Couldn't really tell whether I grabbed a minion or Lulu. They look all the same to me. It's they have the same size and everything. The funny little hats as well. So Jabber, lucky not to get pulled there. But I really would have liked to see Kiva and Issei put a little bit more pressure on Beast Lance and Jabber because the summoners burned early on, because of the quick action that McShoots gave him. You would think maybe they'd get a little bit more of a lead down here, but only a CS lead really, other than that kill that is sitting on Kiva. So doing well, but certainly looking for more. Now is Issei gonna go forward as well. Hook not gonna go out though.
Yeah, and we saw McShoots there taking the red buff on the top side of the map, and Kiba and Issei actually had a chance to freeze the wave there in the bottom lane, which I thought could have been a really good idea to help just zone Beast Lance away from some of the CS. They didn't opt for it, and now we see Skarner just doing Skarner things, running around, taking all of these camps and really pressuring this Nunu and saying, you need to find a way back into this game.
Needing a way back in and needing a play now, but Issei's looking for it. But again, patience with the hook, just zoning off the wave. And this is the pressure that I actually want to see, right? You don't always need to throw the hook. The threat of the rocket grab is all you need. But here they go. Bot side Realm Warp is available. They could make this play, and indeed, here they come. The hook is there, looking for a turn kill into Jabber, but immediately exhausted is Kiva, gonna be chunned up, trapped by the flame choppers, but the TPs are coming in. The explosive cask will throw one back. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Kiva's gonna go down along with Jabber. Issei is on the run, but only into the alcove. The gaming is not legitimate enough. Double kill is on over to Beastlands, flashing under the turret for the kills is Flaming Thunder. He will find himself his first with a beautiful TP into the fight. Top laner showing up, but AOE God Squad coming out on top.
Yeah, AOE God Squad coming out on top there for sure. And I said it before, and I'll say it again, these top laners want to fight. So, you know, pulling the trigger immediately on the bottom side of the map, making a play, bringing everybody down there. Now we see the middle lane action.
Petrifying Gaze used immediately to stop the approach from Flaming Thunder. Phase Rush going to get McShoots to safety as well. Beastlands looking for a 1v1 against the enemy AD carry, but Killer Instinct had brought this Kai'Sa into melee range, and Jinx just can't deal with the damage. Kai'Sa's too dang broken. Nice kill there for Kiva in the bot lane to pick that one up. A shutdown will be passed on over. Will feel real good to get that Q evolved nice and early on, especially with Dragon coming up in 90 seconds. Could be the second of the game for AOE God Squad or Glaive's chance to respond.
Yeah, and I feel like every time Kiba is in a game, there's some point where the directed camera just takes me to a 1v1 of him, and it's like, what is even going on here? He's just absolutely he knows this champion so well. He knows the damage that Kai'Sa can put out. You could see that it was kind of back and forth there between Jinx and Kai'Sa for a second, but Kiba did not back up at all, only went forward.
This is the AP Gragas, so we'll do a little bit more damage. Just speaking of damage, Mousescout is going to use that Impale in the mid lane. The Super Mega Death Rocket will go a little wide, but not necessary to pick up that kill onto Totemax. 9 will go down no problem. Excellently used there with the Impale to pull back the enemy mid laner that has no way away. That means priority over this Dragon. But Issei trying to go on the run. Flame Choppers and the Polymorph. There's the Wild Growth going to knock up Issei. A nice Blitzcrank ulti to pop the shields, but Jabber's still alive. Kiba's looking for the 1v1. The Acathian Rain does not have enough in the tank. Double killing over to Beastlands again. Here's the Frozen Tundra from McShoots as he's trying to look to keep a Sharp Circle at bay, but in comes Melscout. This could be dangerous. We were looking at a dive once again. The smite is there, the root, the stun, everything's piled on top. Sharp Circle's dominating on this rise. Yeah,
Ace is up for AOE God Squad here as every single lane is pushing in. They now have priority over this Dragon right now to maybe get some vision. Doesn't look like they're going to do it just yet, but definitely have the tempo to come back and at least pressure and fight for it.
And in game number 2, AOE God Squad looking to turn the tides here. Sharp Circle. Nice dodge on a Petrifying Gaze as Totemax will be burned at the stake like the snake you are. Sharp Circle outplays in the mid lane.
Yeah, Sharp Circle struggled a little bit in the last game and really coming out here, putting on a showing. The same with Melscout. Both of them picking champions that they seem really comfortable on. Looks like maybe we have a fight over this Drake.
Well, not going to find the mark. Issei, McShoots, and Kiva backing away from this one, waiting for the team to be able to come and help them out. But the recalls are actually coming through. Sharp Circle has TP, but Melscout, he's a jungler. No way back into this one. Dragon will not be started, though. They don't feel comfortable enough to do so.
Yeah, they don't want to throw here at the Dragon Pit, but they also have the Rift Herald to put down onto this bottom lane. That's going to be a lot of gold over for them. Let's see if they walk toward the Drake with the Nunu. Pings are coming out for the red side, though. And red side does have a lot of tempo here. They have a good gold lead, and I'm not sure that Glaive want to challenge for this one, although Totemax is in the area.
Melscout again has the Impale, and look at this. It's too easy. The IRS came a knocking, and Totemax still hadn't paid his taxes. It's free pickings there in the mid lane. Onto the Snake once more. 0-3-0 on this Cassio. Not finding some sort of use here in mid lane. As AOE God Squad, yes, their backs are against the wall, but that's when they punch the hardest, as this game has gotten way out of hand.
Yeah, the Sharp Circle here on the rise is playing really, really well. Totemax keeping up in farm, which is surprising, you know, with all of the pressure that Melscout has put on the middle lane here, and the fact that Nunu has been struggling a bit in this game. So, you know, kudos to Totomax there for going toe to toe. But when a Skarner is going to impale you, a Skarner is going to impale you, and there's not much you can do about it. Let's see if maybe the taxes start coming out. Speaking of the IRS, QSSs for the side of Glaive may be on the docket here to make sure that they can get out of that.
Yeah, really need to get out of the impale. That is the critical cooldown you need to be careful of. The Petrifying Gaze actually does pretty well into Skarner, along with just Cassio in general with the Miasma. A lot of abilities to just stop the Skarner in his tracks, really put the brakes on that assault, but really Totomax just not playing it too well. Didn't get the cooldowns where he needed, so Totomax now will be rolled up on once again. And look, man, look how easy it is. Totomax, no way in hell you get out of that one. They commit 2 flashes, and Totomax can only send his regrets from the fountain.
Yeah, again, you know, Glaive Esports last time did not take their foot off the gas, and we're seeing the same thing from AOE God Squad, saying, you know what, you can do it. If you can do it, we can do it too, and we're just going to keep pressuring you and pressuring you and pressuring you. Now they have cracked open this middle lane, which means that they have access to the jungle.
Access to the jungle and access to the Realm Warp angle. On to Kiba. The Goat Squad has arrived. Goodbye, Mr. Kiba. No way out once again. And that is just a sad sight. Oh, man, you don't know how many members are showing up and all of a sudden you are just dead.
Kiba's standing his ground there saying, like, I think I can outplay this. And then, what, 4 members showing up in the Realm Warp? Just surprise, here we are. The new McShoops here is trying to make a cross map play, but against the Scion, what are you going to do? What is your cross map play? You don't have a ton of damage to take it down, so you're going to take the Herald here, but at what cost, right?
Mm-hmm. At what cost is the biggest question for both these teams. Is 3-13 is the name of the game, and McShoot's trying to get here. Super Mega Death Rocket is going to go forward, but not going to be taken by McShoots. It's stolen by Mel Scout. What does the fight look like, though? Explosive Cask will push back a couple members. Miho's going to be slowed down. Body slam over the wall, though, will get this Glaive Rose top laner to safety, just barely getting himself out alive, and that is highway robbery on the Rift Herald.
Yeah, Necrox, I got some news. The Skarner has a chem tank. He's going to run even faster at you now. So those cooldowns of the Miasma and some slows, or even the Gragas Casks to come out to slow down the Skarner.
Ooh, look at this. Issei aggressive with a flash knockup, and that is a nice paycheck, looking like a stimulus check here for Kiba on this Kaisa. That is 1,000 gold into the pocket of your AD carry. Mel Scout not able to get in range.
Yeah, I can guarantee you right now that Glaive definitely wanted the shutdown to go into Kiba. Kiba is the rock that really brings his team back, even when things are on the brink. When certain team fights are on the brink, you always see Kiba coming out with really clutch plays. And look for him to do that here. He's paid the tax. He's got a QSS. There's not much that a Skarner can do, even if he gets on top of the Kiba, who can just kite that out.
Yeah, and this game is growing ever more weary for Glaive Esports Rose. They desperately need to find a way back in, and 1,000 gold into your Kaisa is a good start. But because 1,000 gold has to go to QSS, make it 1,300 gold that has to go to QSS, it's really just, I don't know. It's a cost, feels like buying paper towels and dish detergent when you get a nice stimulus check, and it doesn't feel too good to have to spend that money in that way. But now the taxes have been paid at least by 1 member for Glaive Esports Rose, waiting to see what other QSSs come through as mythics are starting to be purchased. A few on the board.
Yeah, and of course you have to pay the tax against the Skarner, but we also have to look at the Riots build here coming through with the Everfrost. It's going to be able to just add another layer of CC on top. As, oh my goodness, here we go again with the Nunu rolling into the wall.
Straight face plant there. It's not exactly you want to be hitting. Typically you like the snowballs to hit champions, right? Either champions or jungle camps, but not going to be able to find the right target. Thought maybe they'd look for the pick there, but not going to be able to do that. Dragon available, though, Stone. This would be a nice objective for AOE God Squad to take, really setting up on a win condition. Miho loses out, but there's a nice hook over the wall. Mel Scout, no flash. Suppression back into the team, and they can't find the kill. The Wild Growth to safety. Now Kiba's on the run. Sharp Circle's here with the Everfrost in hand, still on cooldown, but he just doesn't need it. He has enough damage, and Jabber's flashing forward to find the kill. And there's no way away for Miho, who TP'd into the fight, and he will pay the price. Flaming Thunder didn't ever need to show up to that one. Still going to be free hitting here on top side, as Dragon will go down. That is sole point to God Squad, who are already so far ahead.
Yeah, Glaive Esports, they found the play that they wanted to make. Unfortunately, they just don't have the damage to back it up. As the Skarner just ults, somebody pulls them out. It's not necessarily looking good right now. I think they need to farm up a little bit. We look at the farm numbers. They're equal right now, but I think they just need to find a way to stall so that they can get this Cassiopeia online. They can get this Kaisa online as well. Eventually, they'll do enough damage. The question is, can you bridge that gap? Can you get to the late game? And can you stop a Skarner from running at and taking one of your carries?
And if you're just now joining us here on the broadcast, AOE are fighting to get that last playoff spot. Glaive trying to catch MCE and take that first place going into the last week of the season, and now they're trying to catch Issei as he's caught out once again, hadn't paid his taxes, and Beastlance will collect on the debt that Issei has now paid. 17-4 in kills, 4-1 in turrets, and a 6k gold lead to boot. AOE God Squad are looking like the gods this game as Shelly charges down mid lane.
Yep. Using the Rift Herald there, a lot of times the second Rift Herald isn't that great of an objective to take, but when you're this far ahead, you could just smack it on inhib turrets. I think it's pretty good. And I feel like Issei has just hit this point in the game where the only target you're looking to hook is a Jinx. Any other target is just too hard. If you pull a Skarner in, or if you pull one of the tanks in, it's not going to be good. Rise maybe is good, but if he gets Lulu ulted immediately, then he's just gonna, be able to stun the entire team and start putting out all of that AOE damage that late game Rise can do, especially when he's got 7 kills on his back.
Yeah, 7 kills and a lot of damage. Only has 1 page in his book. It's like a poorly written children's book. Doesn't really have enough content just quite yet, but I fully expect that one to get written out as this game carries on.
It's a work in progress, definitely. He's got some time to finish it out, though, as we're 20 minutes into the game, which means that the Baron has spawned, and already we see pings coming out onto it.
Yeah, this is 21 minutes in, and the pings are already going down, which means AOE feel very comfortable stepping up to this, clearing away any vision as Jabber's wailing away with his picks on these control wards. Melscout going to do the same, and now complete and utter darkness for Glaive Esports Rose as the Baron is started up. Here we go.
Yeah, this is exactly what Glaive did last time to AOE God Squad, taking a page out of their book. Maybe that's the one that Rise has. But they're sniffing around here. They think it might be going, but it's going down so fast. And before Glaive can get there, it's just gone. Against
a Jinx, a Skarner, and a Rise with a Lulu in hand as well. That Baron is obliterated in seconds. If you do not know exactly when they start that Baron, AoE will take that one before you can realize they have even begun to clear your vision. And indeed, they grab that one in a heartbeat. As with Baron-empowered minions, this game just got a whole hell of a lot more deadly as Totemak's 9 having to flash away from Flaming Thunder, who is looking to put a train in the back of the snake. But meanwhile, the rest of the squad here just pushing it down top lane.
Yeah, poor Totemax there was trying to go to the safe lane to farm against the tank, and it did not work out.
Oh, look at that. That was the one member that at QSS. That's not who you want to fight, but the rest of it just maybe too much to handle. Beastlance is unstoppable. The Petrifying Gaze not going to find enough. 3-man Frozen Tundra in the back line. His job is going to go down to Totemax. Double kill over to Beastlance. As the rest of the fight breaks out, it's a 2-2. Not too bad for Glaive Esports Rose. Can they find anything else in the back of the fight? Issei is moving forward, has the flash. Here they go. They're looking for more. Shutdown's been passed on over to Kiba. He's absolutely incredible on this Kaisa, and this is why you cannot give him this kind of gold. It's an ace for Glaive Esports Rose as they put on the last defense at their inhibitor turrets. They put up the wall and deny the base from going down.
Yeah, when the chips are down, Glaive Esports Rose are showing up. Unfortunately, there's not an objective right now for them to take. Some of the pings are coming down onto the Mountain Drake, spawning here in 30 seconds. Maybe they'll just settle for some vision around it. Maybe they'll settle for being first to this objective. But they just expended a lot of cooldowns and should be very careful about how they play these next few minutes.
This is an incredible defense attempt from Glaive Esports Rose. They were so far behind, but Mel Scout chose the one member that had already paid the price of the QSS. But this is not one that had already paid the taxes. McShoots is tanky though. He can get out of this one, but Sharp Circles found him on the retreat angle, and now there's no way away. Mel Scout has already found the enemy jungler. That means this dragon is going to be so hard to take. A nice explosive cast, but a hook over the wall finds Mel Scout. Jungler for jungler. A critical hook lands for Issei, and they even out the fight 1-1. But with critical cooldowns already burned, Glaive Esports Rose don't feel good enough to step back up into this dragon pit. Hook over the wall once again, but it only finds Flaming Thunder. Cassia will do a lot of AoE damage. Everfrost not going to find the mark as Unstoppable Ghost Thunder back to his team. Running away 4-4 still on this dragon. No one going to start this one up.
And what a clutch pull there onto Skarner from Issei, knowing that our jungler just went down. We need to pull their jungler. We need to kill them to make this objective at least a 50-50.
Need it as at least a 50-50. Issei is going to try to make it a little bit better, though. A nice hook, but it's only onto Sharp. Remember, he has a Lulu behind him with the Wild Growth. We'll keep him safe for now, but Kiba over the wall finds another beautiful play with a killer instinct, and Glaive Esports Rose may have just pulled this one out of the ashes from hell and got themselves back in a nice spot to be able to breathe for a little bit longer, as this could be their second turret possibly going down. Mel Scout will deny as the minion wave is cleared away. It's not an easy battle for Glaive Esports Rose, but they're putting up their fists and say, bring it on.
Yeah, they're drawing out these team fights to make sure that the Cassiopeia and the Kai'Sa have enough time to do a lot of damage as another pull comes through.
Oh, Mel Scout, he has no flash. He tried to make the play with it earlier, and Kiba's unstoppable. This is what Kiba can do. When I was coming into Substone, I was asking, who are the carries? Who do we need to look at? And Kiba was the #1 selection. When he gets his hands on Kai'Sa, things get rough. And this is exactly why he is praised so highly.
Yeah, I like what Glaive Esports are doing here. They're putting consistent pressure back anytime their AOE God Squad is trying to get any sort of vision. They're all there. They're ready. They're going in as 5 and making sure that they have opportunities to get these picks. We talked to somebody in an interview today that were saying, we learned in Scrimt this week that you have to go in as 5 to get this vision. And now if you look around the Drake, before that was all AOE God Squad. That was all red wards in that area. And now we see the blue wards coming out and grouping up, Kiba being able to take some aggressive ultimates in to get some key picks. And now the gold is starting to even out a little bit. Still a little bit for AOE God Squad, but it's evening out more as we go into this later game.
A little bit of a cheeky play there, actually letting the poison tick down onto the Gromp, actually passing that one to Totemax, giving all the gold to the carries here. Look at the CS for Totemax and Kiba. They're the only ones to really have enough gold in their pockets to make this play happen. Issei is here. Remember, he has no QSS either, but that's a nice hook on the Jabber. Wild Growth immediately forced out, and now Totemax is on a rampage as they found Jabber. Beastlance will trade it back 1-for-1. Jungler for support. No smite available, though, means these objectives are no longer easy to take. Miho looking maybe for the body slam cast, but Sharp Circle split pushing away. Issei flash hook does not connect.
Yeah, Issei here absolutely crushing it with these hooks. I said that Jinx is the only target you really want to pull, but Issei says, Stone, you're wrong. I want to pull a Lulu. Critically getting her to burn her ultimate on herself, and that means that the protection for the carries as the fight goes on, it just isn't there.
Look at Sharp. He's just splitting. Someone needs to go and respond. They're going to lose their inhibitor for the Baron. This is a macro call that could decide the game. Nice blast cone usage there by Miho to deny the possibility. but there's no way McShoots. No! He stole it! Beastlance has just made a game-winning play for AOE God Squad with the Super Mega Death Rocket.
If I'm not mistaken, that's the second time Beastlance has done this tonight. He did it in their matchup, in their previous matchup too, and now he's just firing these Super Mega Death Rockets blind and being able to steal objectives without anybody really being able to do anything about it.
Oh man, that is heartbreaking for Rose, just as the narrative had swapped to the comeback story for this team. Beastlance puts his boot on the ground, fires the rocket blind, and picks up a Baron out of nowhere. That was simply unlucky. You've got to be ready for something like that to happen. You've got to body block. You say, you know, jungle diff smite didn't connect, but Jinx does like 1600 damage, maybe even 2k with the Mega Death Rocket at this point in the game from that kind of distance. Oh, that is a heartbreaker, as now AOE God Squad are looking to put the finishing touches on this game, and Miho is not long for the world. He is dead immediately. Double knockup from McShoots. Wild Growth forced out nice and easy, but there you go. This is a Nunu down as well. They find Sharp Circle. Scout looking for more. Here comes Flaming Thunder as Issei is deleted immediately. Beastlance has got himself a double kill, pushing for more. The QSS is there, but it does not matter. Triple kill for Beastlance. This Jinx is popping off in the team fight. Has the excitement passive as well to keep things a-rolling, keep it a-trucking here for AOE God Squad. Petrifying Gaze finds 3. It's a double kill for Totemax, trying to get himself away, make it a triple kill for Tota. He just saved this game single-handedly with that flash ulti, looking for more into Flaming. We'll be able to walk away, but this game is all too close. Glaive Esports hanging on by a thread.
Oh my goodness. Totemax there also putting a foot down and saying, this game doesn't end here. I still have my abilities. I'm still ready to fight. And there, AOE God Squad critically didn't wait for the super minions to start putting pressure in the bottom lane. Maybe they put a little bit too much on the gas here. And they could have waited for a little bit more pressure, played it a bit more slowly, but they decided to walk into a Petrifying Gaze and paid the price.
That is a 3-item Cassiopeia at this point. That is absolutely terrifying, and I prefer a 10 stone ring, if you will, to a 1-page book at this point in the game, and that Cassio is going to rip through this team. Please buy QSS Totemax. Please go on home. Get the parts you need. You got 3k in inventory, and instead he gets 2 big old sticks.
Yeah, I don't know about this. Is a pretty aggressive move, saying, you know what, I don't need your QSS. Your Skarner, your CC isn't landing onto me anyway. I'm living really deep into these fights, which is fair. But after that carry, seeing how much this Cassiopeia can do, I'm not sure AOE God Squad is going to sleep on this champion anymore. They can see it's online. They can push tab and see that 2 needlessly large rods were just picked up, and look for them to try and be very, very aggressive onto this carry.
Still 1,300 gold in pocket here for Tota, waiting to be able to spend that on the completed death cap. Basing now might actually have it completed, and there you go. That's the big old cap that you were waiting to see from Totemax. No QSS, but he's got a whole hell of a lot more damage at this point in the game. Scout getting real fast here. Issei is looking to make the play, the knockup, the pull, the Everfrost, the Wild Growth, trying to get Scout to safety, but no, Miho's found the jungler. But look at Beastlance from the back line. The damage is real, and they wipe the face of Glaive Esports Rose in the dirt. A quadra kill for Sharp to end it all. One swift maneuver from AOE God Squad will crush the hopes of Glaive Esports chances at a 2-0. Flaming Thunder tanking up the turret because why not? And AOE God Squad in 32 minutes after a heartbreaking defeat will take down GER.
Wow. An absolute banger. I think Totemax there in that last fight, he would want to have that one back, I think. I think he thought they were going to be kiting away, and instead AOE God Squad says, no, we're coming in. Knock, knock. I'm Jinx. Let's go. We want to end the game.
That's a feels real bad not to be able to pull that victory off. Just completed the death cap as well, and will lose it all in that one fight in the bot side jungle. And with that, it is a swift decision that can win it all at the end. And oh man, I don't know. I feel like just getting greedy, not paying your taxes, whether it's Mel Scout flashing forward or getting caught in the flame choppers at the end from Beastlance, you have to get that critical piece of itemization, especially when they have the Skarner on their team. And at the end, when you don't pay your taxes, the IRS comes knocking and punishes you for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like in this game, the itemization just had to be too defensive for the side of Glaive Esports Rose. I was thinking about it there. You have to buy a QSS against the Skarner. And then now the Lulu is building this Moonstone Renewer, and Staff of Flowing Water, which are giving the team heals. And now you need to buy Grievous Wounds as well. And it's like, when do we just get to buy our damage? And I think that's exactly where Totomax got to and said, you know what? I'm buying damage. I don't care. With the potential to carry that last fight. It was there, but it didn't go their way, unfortunately.
And not their way indeed, is AOE God Squad with a nice win against Glaive Esports Rose at the end. But to break it all down and what that means for the league, I'll give you people who are certainly interested in what it all means for them, as they'll take over the interview as well and wrap it up for the night. So thank you all for listening to my voice for the first time here on Mid League and from Stone as well. We will see you all later. But Gungeon and Mac Dewey, take it away, boys.